Hey guys, welcome to another edition of On Social, the show that talks about everything that has to do with social media, professional live broadcasting on social media, and helping to build your brands and get them out there in front of the world and make you, well, at least that's the attempt to make you a thought leader in the process. And joining me to help with that, we've got Mr. Marty McPadden from PodJam.tv. He's back from his LA trip. Welcome back.
Yeah, I survived the
You,
West Coast travel. I survived. I had to push it off one day because of the snow on the East Coast, but successful trip. Glad to be back.
you survived LA International Airport. That needs a
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
that needs just an
they,
applause for that.
it, yeah, they are working on improvements. They're building this monorail. It'll be ready in a few years.
A
So,
few
but yeah,
homes.
it's not my most favorite airport in the world. So, just glad to be back home on the East Coast.
Well, it's great to have you here. And we also have a special guest with us because Jeff Fitzgerald wasn't able to be with us today, but we have a suitable replacement. We have Jeremy Klusterman, and he's also a member of the Telestream crew. Welcome, Jeremy.
Well, glad to be here.
So, for those that don't know Jeremy, why don't you tell them a little bit what you do, and if they see your name kind of floating around in forums or chat rooms or even on their live stream, what you do for
Yep.
Telestream.
Yeah, for sure. So I do the Wirecast gear sales, and just kind of look for look for ways that I can help customers get their live streaming setup ramped up. So sometimes Wirecast is a great product for you, and it just you're loving it, but that 5-year-old Mac Mini just isn't cutting it anymore. So we like to provide the tools that you need to ramp up your stream, take more video inputs, and really take it to the next level. And that's where Wirecast Gear comes into play. Um, so I love helping people. I come from the house of worship background, so I you know a lot of people knock it and say, well, that's they don't necessarily know what they're doing, everything like that. But we have in that background, we've been given so many different tools that we have to try and make work. And so sometimes you can call them the MacGyvers of streaming video because they know how to part and piece everything together and make it work. So I love doing that and helping bring everybody into that next level.
Well, I thought you'd be fitting for this show, and I know people are probably wondering, like, why do I have the background of all these people walking around and I'm kind of standing out in the crowd? Well, that kind of fits into today's topic because we want to talk about how to stand out in a crowd. How do you become noticed? You want to start building a brand. You got a great idea for a brand. You got a great idea for maybe a new business, and the hardest thing to do is to get noticed, guys. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you're in a sea of endless people walking around, but without putting a flag or something on you that says, "Hey, come talk to me," or something that jumps out at people, how do you get the attention that you're doing something special and people need to pay attention to? And this is a tough subject, but I know our good friend here, Marty, has put together some talking points here that I think will help with this. So, Marty, why don't you kind of dive into your first point on this?
Okay. Well, first I have to acknowledge your wonderful background and the storytelling that you add to this whole thing. Very creative, Stephen. You are
I'm
always
I'm
like working
trying,
on
I am. I'm trying.
that is fantastic. All right, let's get into this a little bit. So, how do you become relevant in a field, right? And we talk a lot about, this is about live streaming on social platforms, and usually the object there is to, either garner attention maybe of a business, or maybe you have a particular area of knowledge or interest that you want to share, and you want to become more well known. How do you do it? Well, it's certainly not a short road. Nothing happens in a day. And I have a couple of main points that I want to kind of talk about. And the first one I'm going to talk about is more doing, less talking. And what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes I see a lot of people where you kind of maybe lack a little patience, and you want to get out there and you want to be known all at once. Well, you could talk all I've seen people talk. There are people that are great talkers and tell stories, but is there anything behind it? Is there any real substance behind it? And one of the really great ways you can do it, to be able to overcome that and to be able to gain some relevance is actually demonstrate your knowledge or demonstrate what you know. So I'll give you an example. One of the things I do in my business, my day job, is I'm a podcast editor, along with being a video editor, but podcast editor. So if you're a podcast editor and you want to build a business, you want to gain some relevance in that field. One of the things you could do is, instead of just talking about it and say, "Oh, I'm a great podcast editor, come use my services," is maybe demonstrate some knowledge. And there are a lot of people. Podcast is growing, and there are a lot of people that are just getting into it, and they have a lot of questions. So why don't you share your knowledge? So maybe if you're an editor and you appreciate good sounding recordings, maybe demonstrate, through your content, how to achieve a good sounding recording, so that when you give it to your editor, they have something to work with. So actually demonstrate that instead of talking about it. Could be do from about, it could be through video, demonstration, talk about, maybe it's a particular microphone they're using, mic technique, all that stuff, how to achieve that recording and share that knowledge. And not only are you getting out there and, adding to your relevance and gaining relevance, you're also demonstrating your knowledge, and then people can make that judgment, and then they're going to be more apt to, if you have a service, to use your service or even pay attention to what you're saying, and you build it from there. So again, more demonstration, less talking. I'm not sure if you have anything to add to
Well,
that.
I was gonna say to Jeremy, so you do a lot of searching the web for content relevant because obviously you're in sales and whatnot. What are some of the things that stick out to you when you're locating people? Or sometimes you may stumble upon somebody and go, "Man, I can't believe nobody's seen this guy or this person or this lady." What are
Yeah.
you looking for? What are things that really grasp you as like Marty was saying, you're looking for that doing and less talking.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So obviously, I'm looking for people who either need help with video or they're doing a good job with video, and I want to connect or gain knowledge from them. As we were talking ahead of the show, it's like I'll give somebody maybe 5 seconds, and if their audio is junk, just like Marty was just talking about, I'm gone. I'm on to the next thing because there's so much content out there, and because audio is such an easy thing to get right, um, and I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but it's one of the most essential things that if you can't get audio right, you're probably not going to be that serious into it. Where you're taking it serious. So some of the stuff is like a room recording. You can tell they just have their phone up and they're recording it on their phone, and you hear the room noise and everything like that. Um, they're not taking it as serious as they could. So they may have great content, but I'm not going to stick around long enough to know that. But then also video quality, and video quality with live streaming isn't always as controllable as audio, but you can always tell when somebody at least is put some effort into it, like they have the background of people walking around when they're talking about standing out from the crowd. So those are things that really set you apart, and make you stand out.
I know. I think that's good information because just like you see me here, and this background when I saw it, and I know we're gonna be changing some backgrounds up, but Marty, I mean, you see all these guys, they look like vacation goers in the back, and here's this business guy with a nice polo and standing here. I would definitely stand out in a crowd like this because these are all vacationers. You see them, their shorts and flip flops and t-shirts. They're not looking. They see somebody like me there, and they're like, "Whoa, what's this guy about?" I might have gotten their attention, but like Jeremy said, if I can't keep their attention, they're gone, right? So there's got to be some kind of hook to get them to stay in your presence. What have you done in your area? What have you done to kind of help, build your position? I know you've got a second point on this, and I think it goes with this. What have you done to kind of keep the attention of people?
Well, for me, I'll tell you, I used to do not only the shows with you, Stephen, but I used to do a show, and I haven't done it in a couple of years, and mainly because I'm running out of time. And I'm very blessed. business was good. But I think now that since I can't do as much content, what I can do is make sure I'm consistent in the results that I'm achieving for clients. So that's the like when you hire me and say I'm editing a podcast, and especially if you're new, I'm going to demonstrate why you hired me. I'm going to make it worth your while, but also consistently, not only consistent quality, but consistent as far as response. And that's what people are looking for. So that's something that's within your control. And you don't even have to necessarily even be the best technical person in the field. I think that those are some of the things that you learn, you get better as you go. But I think there's a lot of great editors out there if we're talking just editing. But what separates you is how you approach the job, consistency, reliability. Those are the things you can control. And that applies for any line of business. I think that's the thing. And just one point on what Jeremy was mentioning about the sound quality. Um, that's so important. And in addition to it being, and it's fairly straightforward, it doesn't take that much to have decent sound quality, just a little bit of effort, and maybe just a little bit of learning some key techniques. Doesn't take very long. But what it demonstrates is your commitment to quality, because you can talk all you want about how good you wanna be, but if you're not demonstrating that, people talk is cheap, and that's, a kind of a cliche, but it's true. It's what you demonstrate, and people are gonna take that, and they're not necessarily gonna tell you that it's subpar, especially if they're friends. They're just kinda they'll support you, they're all good, or they won't say anything at all. But what you're sending out there is, I really don't care. I'm not taking it seriously. I don't really care about my audience. I'm not really don't care about making the effort. And
Yeah.
what Jeremy's talking about is it doesn't take that much. Just care. You're communicating your effort, and you're communicating that I really do care. I mean, when we come on the show, Stephen, between the three of us, we've taken the time to set up to be, we take the audience seriously.
Mhm.
So if there's a problem, we're going to work that through, and we're just going to make sure we have decent quality the best we can. So
Well, I think, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that it shows the audience that we respect their time. They're taking time out of their busy schedule to
yeah,
sit down and watch what we're doing and to hear what we have to say, and for us to take it serious. We get on a little bit early, make sure, things are muted. We make sure that the microphones are sounding good. I mean, Jeremy's like, "Well, I got a bunch of cameras. Does this look all right? Should I change it, or how's my audio sound?" I mean, these are things that we do to respect the audience that's going to come out and take the time to watch and listen to what we have to say. So, I
yeah.
think you guys are spot on with that. Um,
And just to put a ball just before I get
yeah,
to the second point, um, you know, it it it's not about being perfect,
right.
that's very hard, and it's also not about, completely eliminating all mistakes are gonna happen, or things out of your control are gonna happen. It's how you respond to it, and like you said, Stephen, your preparation and your commitment to the quality, your commitment to making the best effort. Because people can tell, like, something may happen, you might stumble over a word, or like Stephen, something might happen with the transmission. We don't control the
Mhm.
internet, but people can tell when you're making the effort, and that's what I'm trying to get across. You wanna make sure that people know that you're making the maximum effort. Anyways, second point I wanna point out, and this is something that you really should pay attention to, is not only should you seek to make really good content, and share your knowledge, but also seek out others in the area that of your interest or your expertise or your business, areas that you're involved in too. It's not a question of think of it less as competition, more about collaboration. You know, um, Good example is Steven and myself. I've followed Steven for a while. I mean, Steven's been involved in online video for a decade. We tell the story of Steven, Justin TV, and all that stuff. And you've been a leader for years. So I've been following you. So we met online, and we kind of over time we forged that relationship. I didn't expect you to take me seriously out of the gate. It over time we met in person, but forge those relationships, forge those collaborations. Nothing great is done alone, especially if you really want to be top of your game. And one of the things I'll point out, and I'll switch this in my let me just get this set here.
Well, and
I'm going to
Marty,
switch to.
oops, go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, an example. One of the things I do is I edit podcasts, and one of the things that is valuable about Facebook, one of the only things, is Facebook groups finding the right groups. One of the groups I belong to, a podcast editor group, not a they don't know I'm saying this, but I respect this group. One of the best groups I'm involved with. If you're a podcast editor, I strongly recommend this group. But what's great about it is it's all about sharing your knowledge, and in their headline there, discussion about they're very focused discussion about podcast editing, post production, how to better serve our clients. We do not discuss mics, mixers, VoIP recorders. They keep it very focused, but they're also very much about sharing. They do it out of not out of fear, but out of collaboration, and that way everyone is better that way. And I can't overemphasize how important that is. You meet people. Stephen and I, this show is a collaboration. We've met, we've done other shows. It makes both of us better, and I'm telling you, your collaboration with you, Stephen, has made it possible for me to grow my business, because I've gotten a lot from you. We help each other. It's and other people we meet, and I can't overemphasize that enough, how important that is. Don't think of it as, competition. Think of it as collaboration and as growing everybody, so
No, I think
anyways,
that's good.
I don't know.
Jeremy, what's your take on that as far I mean, do you see a lot of collaboration out there? I mean, my view has been I've seen there's some people that like to collaborate, but then there's others that just want to keep to themselves, and I hate to say it, but they're slow growers.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like you get people who think they know it all. They think they're doing their own thing and doing it perfectly. They're a professional in their own mind, and all of a sudden you see a silo. They get siloed in their industry, in what they're doing. Where when you collaborate with others, not only does it help you grow your business, but then um, you're providing, a tool that somebody else needs to help them grow their business. So instead of that silo just getting taller and taller, fuller and fuller, it's like the whole community benefits from you sharing that knowledge and collaborating, like Marty said, with everybody else. It's like what's the old saying that when the water um in the dock rises, all the ships rise with it.
Mhm.
So when you provide content, when you provide stuff that's beneficial to the community, everybody's going to go up.
Well, and it's funny you should say that because Marty knows about what one of some of my side projects, and one of my side projects is I've gotten pretty in depth in the retro gaming community that have to do with these arcades, which you've seen Jeremy in my studio here. And
Yep.
one of the things with it was that I noticed was that there was a lack of quality video. These guys are shooting videos from their cell phones and it's wobbly. And it's not that it's cell phone video, it's just that they just didn't know how to present it in a way that the audience wanted to. So I got together with, and again, using Marty's collaboration, right? I got together with some of what I considered the pillars in that community and said, listen, let's do a live show where we all come on. I know enough to be dangerous. I don't have the nitty gritty skills that you guys have done with the retro gaming and know all the fun facts of it. I grew up in it just like everybody else, just like everybody on this panel and probably in the chat room. I put together my own machines. I have my own machines. I know enough to be dangerous. Let's do a show, and I'll kind of like be the director, if you will, and kind of throw questions out and let's do it. Well, they were surprised because look what happens when collaboration happens. It's like Jeremy said, all the ships rise together. They've noticed their subscriber counts have gone up on YouTube. They've noticed that their follower counts have gone up on Facebook on their respective groups. And we're all kind of working together. And when you get 17,000 plus live viewers watching a show like that, everybody makes out. Everybody's a winner. And I think if more and more people would just kind of grasp that concept, especially when you're starting out, especially when you're trying to build something, you could actually succeed at what you're doing, and there's no secret to it, right? It's just being a human. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on that. But before we go into Marty's other point, we do want to thank the folks over at Telestream. They have been gracious in allowing us to do this show, and we want you guys to help us out. We want you to go over to telestream.net/onsocial and check out some of the cool products. Jeremy talked about he sells the Wirecast gear unit. If you've got questions, you can also talk with him. But this Wirecast gear unit is one of the ways that we can stream out to the world and have some of the great quality that we have. Whether you're going to use it as an encoder or whether you're gonna use it as your main switcher, Wirecast Gear gives you that ability to do that. Now, if it's not really at your price point right now, there's other options. We offer the Wirecast software, which you can also get here and add to any Mac or PC. But you know, if you have any questions with this, Jeremy, I'm going to throw you on the spot here. They can get in touch with you after checking
Yeah.
out this website, and Jeremy could even do like an online demo with you, where he can connect with you over Skype or your favorite video conferencing software, and show you the unit, how it works. And both Marty and I have a gear unit in the studio here that we use to produce our stuff, and it's a great addition. In fact, my Gear 2 unit should be coming soon. But both Marty and I have the Gear 1, so we're looking forward to this system here, and it's powerful. But again, we want to say thank you to Telestream for allowing us to continue to help the community here with these types of shows. And again, you'll help us tremendously if you head on over to telestream.net/on social. That's the web link. And gotta pay the bills, guys. We gotta keep the sponsors happy, and the companies happy, and because we're happy, we love doing the show. So um,
Yeah.
on that note, so get in touch with Jeremy. I don't know if that's something. Do you have an email that's okay for them to contact you by, or is that something you want to give out?
Yeah, for sure. Jeremy K at telestream.net. So it's super easy. Also, if you go to that link that Stephen was providing, fill out the form. Most of those forms come to me, so at some point you'll talk to me anyways. But yeah, that's the easiest way to get in touch with me. Fill out that form or send me an email and I'll get in touch with you.
So, and like I said, Jeremy's versed in House of Worship. We've done some stuff. I know he talks to a lot of different clients and working with, so he's definitely a guy to talk to. But again, it's a great unit. So Marty, what have we got? What do we got on tap for the next point that's in your list of magic here?
Yeah, the next point, I'll put it's just a capper on the second point. You're mentioning the collaboration part and how you work with the gamers. It's like I think a lot of people run into the problem where they think that, oh, if I'm in competition, nobody's going to watch my stuff. They're going to watch everyone else's. Believe me, whatever niche you're into, and we all have our interests, we want to consume everything in that niche. So this collaboration part, you're making everyone known, and everyone brings a slight different take to it. So never be afraid. Don't think that people are gonna lose interest or are gonna run out of time. They're in that niche. They're gonna want to consume everything. So don't. It's not gonna detract from you. It'll actually add to you. But the third point is, and I hate to go negative, but I will a little bit here. Avoid self proclamations of expertise. And what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes, especially on social, and Stephen, we've seen it. The thing that turns me off the most, and it's gonna click off, is when someone puts the word expert in their bio. How in the heck do they know that they're an expert? Who's the judge of that? Yourself? Oh,
Well,
you
wait, wait,
think you're
wait.
great at
I'm an expert screw up. Can I self-proclaim that?
yes, you could well, that's the one exception. You could do that. You could do that. But how do you know that you're an expert? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, and most of it is like yapping and talking, and it's like there's no demonstrating.
Wait, 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 wait,
It's
wait,
like,
wait, wait. Just to stop you there for a second. John Mahoney just came into the chat room. That there is an expert. He's an
oh,
Yeah.
expert.
well, yeah. Well,
He's an expert.
and I'm glad you brought that up. John Mahoney, that's a great we're gonna use John as an
You're
example,
in trouble,
right?
John.
I well, I John is the top, right? So anyway, so here's the difference, right? John does a show on his group, right? He's a video professional. He's come up with neural net and all this stuff, right? I don't see John talking to him like, "Oh, I'm the big expert here. Listen to me. I'm an expert."
Correct.
No, you know what happens? Other people say that
That's
because
right.
of because of what he demonstrates. He doesn't yap about it. He demonstrates it. And he does it every single week. And he does it all the time. You need help? You call John. Over time, he's developed that. He's demonstrated his expertise, his integrity in the field, as someone that you can rely on, that you can go to, that knows what they're talking about. It's others like myself or Steven or Jeremy say, "Oh, John, he's the guy. He's the expert." Not John. or we don't say it. So when someone says that self-proclamation, it's a turn off. It says, "Come on." I mean, show me what you have. Don't tell me, show me.
Well,
People can see through it,
That's
you
exactly
know?
it.
but
And they're not gonna and here's the thing, they're not gonna tell you. They
right.
will not. Most people are polite, they will not tell you. They'll think it, and I'm telling you, for your own good, they won't tell you. Just be authentic, be patient. One of the things I would say, be authentic, be patient, do the work to demonstrate your expertise to build trust with the audience. That's really the big thing. I mean, in the end, all you have is your integrity and your trust. Don't take it for granted because that's really the main crux of this. Once you build that, it's everything. Once you lose it, it's done.
And
So,
we've never come on the show. Jeremy, you watch it pretty much every week. We've never come on the show and said we were experts. None of us. We've had people tell us we're experts, but it's the same thing as like Marty stated. We wanted to come on here and demonstrate it through what we did, right? Um, I get calls from customers that were transferred from other people and they're like, "Oh, you're the expert that I need to talk to." I'm like, "Well, if that's what they told you, it and I think there's something to that. Don't let it go to your head if somebody calls you an expert, Marty, because there are,
Yeah.
I mean, to certain people, you are an expert, but like you said, you don't have to. Like Jeremy, he's an expert, so I'm going to tell him he's an expert. I'm going to let it go to his head. No, he's shaking his head. What happens, Jeremy?
Because
No, seriously, what happens when you go on to a stream and you're looking at it and somebody says, "I'm an expert. You need to watch me."
Well, it's like you go on LinkedIn and all these people think that they have the answer and they have everything that to know about such and such. It's like, okay, really? And that's why I give them maybe 5 to 7 seconds. And if they don't wow me with the quality of their stuff, then I'm on. But yeah, for personal thing, as soon as you get to that point and you say, well, I'm an expert in this, I know all there is to know about it, then you all of a sudden stop learning and you
Yep.
stop growing and expanding what you can know and bring to the table. Because it's like once you reach that expert status, what else do you have to, where else are you gonna go? So that's yeah, that's a really good point there.
And you never stop learning. I mean, that's what Marty and I
Right.
we talk about that even off air, but the one gentleman, Steve, in the chat room here, not me, but another one, he says, "I think an expert is comprised of X, an unknown, um, and spurt." So I think what he's trying to say with this is, you're only an expert to somebody that you have more knowledge than. Like you can't just say you're just a global expert, because there's always
Yep.
somebody out there that knows more than you. And if you don't think so, you're deceiving yourself. Because I mean, there's times where I think I know a lot of stuff, and then I talk to somebody else, and I'm going, "Yeah, I never thought of that. That's good. Oh, maybe I'll have to change my workflow." I mean, Jeremy, there's times you and I've talked, and you're like, "Well, couldn't you do something like this?" And I'm like, I never thought about that. You're
Yeah.
right. So when you put that blinders on and say, "I'm an expert, Marty," you basically turn off any chances of learning in the future. And I know Jeremy doesn't walk around and say he's an expert. You don't walk around and say you're an expert. But there's simple things that you and I have even gotten on the phone, Marty, and troubleshot. And you said it, and I'm like sitting here banging my head for hours, never gave it a thought. And Marty's like, "Well, did you check that?" And it turns out to be that, right?
yeah, it's just a different perspective, right? So, if someone thinks of you as an expert, and Steven, I think you hit the nail on the head there with your comment is you might be working with somebody and you may have more knowledge than that person. You could be very helpful, and in their that person's eyes, you are an expert in that particular case, right? That's totally fine. That's how it works. It's the self proclamation. How do you know? I mean, and I think Jeremy brought this out. It's like, and you said, Stephen, you never stop learning, especially
Yeah.
in the live video social
It's
space.
always
It's
changing.
always changing, always change. I'm always like with large part of we talked about a large part of my business is editing, right? So I'm constantly looking at better ways to better myself. How do I deal with audio? How do I do video? How do I get better? How do I get faster, better quality, more knowledge about how everything works, tips, practice. It's almost like learning an instrument. You continually practice. What's new? What can we do better?
Yeah.
I mean, it's never going to stop.
Yep.
and that's why I love learning. And I always look at what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? That's all I strive to do.
Yep.
And over time, you get better and you get to a certain level where maybe you can do it for money or whatever. But then you always should be always striving to do more, and that's the fun part. And if someone sees you an expert, so be it. And your help, and that's great. But as far as looking at yourself, I'm just looking to get better. That's all. Maybe that's a better goal. Just
Yeah.
look to get better.
So Steve clarified what he was stating,
Sure.
and he basically said, I put little faith in experts. He says, I'll make my own decisions based on your performance and skills. And it goes back to what
Yeah.
you were saying. Demonstrate it.
Yep.
Don't just sit there and do the lip service. And Steve in the chat room is agreeing with that. Like, don't just tell me you're good at this. Show me that you're good at. Show me you know how to do
Right.
this. You know, what's the best way to give somebody confidence is to show them, lead them by example, right? Show what you can do. And we come on week in, week out. We give good video. We give good audio. I mean, we have our weeks where you just the gremlins get in. You don't have control over it, but for the most part,
Technology.
yeah, exactly,
Technology is
Jeremy. I
great.
mean, you
Yeah.
try to put your best foot forward, like you said. You want to try to take the audience seriously and do whatever you can to maximize that. Um, and I think that's why it's important. I'm going to put this out there so it's on the recording. Is guys, if you guys are doing something really awesome in the social space with your branding, with your setup, with whatever, send us a video. A minute and a half to 3 minute long video. Send it to StephenH@Telestream.net. Send it to me, and we'll showcase it on the show here. We want to see what you guys are doing out there, so maybe it'll help somebody else that's trying to build a brand or do these great videos on social media. Like, we don't have all the answers. We like to think we've been doing this for quite some time. But like I said, there's always somebody else that comes through and just throws a wow factor on it. And so we want to see your setups. We want to see if you want to come on the show and talk about your setup or talk about what you're doing on social media and how it's productive. Send me an email as well. Would love to have it. Just like Jeremy. Jeremy's doing a lot with churches. Jeremy, I'll go to full screen here with you. Jeremy's got a little rig there behind him. If you guys didn't see it, but Jeremy goes to different trade shows with these awesome rigs. Gets a lot of compliments on this, and this is something, Jeremy, nobody told you how to put this together. You put it together yourself.
Yeah, no, it comes from the learning that we were just talking about. I did a ton of research with the background that I have. I looked up racks, portable cases and racks like that, and just gleaned, touchscreen monitor that somebody in the industry suggested to me, and I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Then you can run Wirecast with touchscreen. We got the X keys controller, got a good audio interface, so you can do that good audio, provide good audio. But yeah, this thing is awesome because everything fits together. Um, I have a drawer in there that I keep all my random parts and pieces and tools. So you always get to a show and then you're like, oh, I need this, and I have a drawer.
Well, so these are the types of things that creative people are doing on the web. And I think, Marty, this was something that we really wanted to touch on. And I know in the upcoming weeks, just to kind of wet everybody's whistle, one of the subjects that we're going to, Jeff brought this up, so I'm not taking credit for this, but he brought up the subject, and I'm going to go back to the three of us for the reaction: likes versus followers versus subscribers, and what that means. Does that make or break you as a person? He
That's
made
a good one.
Yes, because he was like, I know people that have 300,000 followers and they get one person interacting with them, and then I've got people that have 100 followers that are getting interacted with all the time. What would you rather have? So I'm going to leave that little teaser for you guys because that's coming in an upcoming week. Should be a really good show, so you want to tune in for that. But guys, we're at the end. We're at the end of the show. It was, we hope that we brought a lot of insight. Again, thanks to Marty McPadden, podjam.tv for the great talking points as we collaborate on this. It was great to have it, and great information, man.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Steven.
Also, you guys can check him out at podjam.tv and Marty McPadden just about everywhere on the internets. Go bug him, harass him, whatever. go send him a friend request. And also want to thank Jeremy Kluseman, and you can find out more about him. He's pretty much on the web as well, but over at Telestream, you guys have any questions in regards to Telestream, just about Wirecast and Wirecast gear, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, for sure. Anything you need.
So guys, hit him up. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of On Social. We hope that this show helped you stand out from the crowd when you're getting into your social media ventures or businesses or whatever it is that you're going to do. So we'll see you guys on the next one next week. Take care, everybody.